Oh, yeah.
Karen all of a sudden had to do all the work around the house.
Well, Karen did. That kind of was she didn't realize that was coming. I didn't realize it was coming either. And one time we're out in the yard, and my dad made me do my chores. He said, "Hey, get the mower out, the lawnmower." Well, it's a push. It was a major training thing to do. I finally said, well, my father always said to me, "You got to watch the body, watch where you go, always pay attention, and our accidents can happen. One accident away." So I was okay, and I went the next door to the Heathertons, and the Heathertons had a power mower. I started the power mower, went around there, and I caught a rock, and he threw the rock against the house and cracked the slate at the side of the house. And I went, whoa! I called my dad over and said, "Hey, look at that, Dad. Caught a rock." And it comes out and hits me in the ankle. Maybe not ever play the game. He goes, "Yeah, you're right, son. Get your clothes." And she did it all my life. God bless her. And she was one of the best. She's one of those deserving sisters that no one never tells you about. Here she was. And we were watching this hockey night in Canada one night, and the antenna blew down in a blizzard. And so I said, I'm at the back of the porch. I never knew this was going to be what you did. And on the back porch, in the shed in the back of the house, the old wartime housing. And I get the ladder up in the little shed, and the shed goes a little steeper, and the house is even steeper. And there's my dad on his way up this thing in the middle of a blizzard. And Dad, I could slip off this roof, break my back. He goes, "Yeah, Karen, get your get your coat." And I started climbing up the side of the house. And I said, "Well, I don't know how she got that relegation to things, but I imagine that could have upset her in her teen years." Yeah, it was different.
A good soul, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, she's a good soul. There's no one she wouldn't have done for, even today. She's the best. She is. She's really a beautiful woman, but life goes on.
Nice. So the dream of every young hockey player was to follow their heroes and wear a pair of Tackaberry skates. You wanted a pair as well. Can you tell us that story, Derek?
There was a at the time in the neighborhood, in our neighborhood, maybe had 30, 40 kids, because we're all wartime housing, and all the guys from the war, all the soldiers came back, so everybody kind of knew each other, and it was a quite great way to grow up, really. And it was a different thing. Wait a second, I just lost my thought. What were you doing?
Talking about the tacks, your skates.
And should I call him Tackleberry really threw me. Yeah. And I said to my dad, the guys in the neighborhood that are a little bit older, they say to you, "Well, they get the nice equipment." And then all of a sudden, I know I had to go. Anybody who was good enough around me in that league, they thought they could even, everybody dreams. And the wealthy fathers got their own kids' tacks. So, but I always wanted a pair of tacks. And I think I was at 12th, maybe 13th birthday, my dad got me a pair of tacks. Oh, my God. Thought you died and went to heaven. Thought you had the whole machine then. And he said to me, "Son," I said, "Tell you what, you get the tacks now, but when you win the cup, I get the ring." And that's what settled that bargain.
And sure enough, somewhere down the road, and we'll get to that a little bit later on, Dad got the ring. There we go. So tell me about how the Boston Bruins finally signed you and you became part of their organization, Derek.
Well, they kind of doing it around. A guy by the Weston Adams Sr., he owned the Bruins, and they kind of went around town beating the bush and coming up with young kids. They came up with Bobby Clark. They came up. He got all sorts of guys, McLeish and all these guys. We're all owned by Boston. And what they do is they give you a check for your C form. You sign your C form. That's what professional rights. And I didn't know that. And they gave my dad a check for $100. I remember Boston Bruins, a big, long, convoluted name. It's a corporation. And that was it. They owned me. So I had some bragging rights in the neighborhood. And I told my dad, "Give me a pair of tacks." "Yeah, tax, and I'll, because I'm going to make it." Well, I used to start watching the Bruins after that, and they were dead last every year. Stay that way till I get there.
Well, so how old would you have been when you joined the organization?
Well, I had my first pre-owned or just first game with because I've been juniors. I was 15. They asked me to training camp with the Niagara Falls
Gotcha.
Flyers.
Excellent. It was quite a
Now,
team. You had a lot of players.
That's
Look
a
at some
great
of those
team.
players that we know.
You got Doug Favell on the one end, on the right-hand side of your picture, and then you got Bernie Front just below me. So those two guys played in the National Hockey League for years.
Yep.
Then you got a guy by the name of you got Jimmy Lawrence is in there. I figured that. Bobby Ring, he was from Weymouth, Mass. And we got Barry. Oh, geez. I haven't seen these guys there. Trainer. Oh, wow. Where'd you get this picture? John Pronovo played with the
John Pronovo. Sure, yep. There's Gilles Marat.
Bill Goldsby standing off to my left.
Yep.
Yeah. And Ricky Lee behind me. That's Ricky Lee behind me at the up at the top row.
Very good.
I mean, these guys can play.
Oh, for sure. But because you were part of the Bruins organization, the Niagara Falls Flyers would get the hand-me-downs from the Bruins. And
oh yeah,
can you tell me about some of the?
I realize that. I don't know. Well, I had got a guy, Hap Ems. Hap Ems was our owner, coach. He owned the Barrie Flyers and he moved into Niagara Falls. And a grand guy. Closer to dead heat. Very cheap. Didn't spend any money, but and they took over the franchise, and he asked the Bruins equipment that they weren't using. Right? Somebody's drinking through a straw. So it was sweaters and the underwear would come in, and I had one time Cal Gardner's underwear, but the long underwear was raced off all the names and numbers and come down to the bottom midway through his back. And then there I am, boss was okay. So then he sent us gloves, and they sent us, and they were the worst, the most massive gloves you ever saw in your life. But you had to wear them. And they had shin pads with the bones in them, you know, those fiber bones.
Yeah.
Yeah, the long ones. I remember I got made lucky enough to get in the junior all-star team, and the Marlies were there. Jimmy McKinney and those guys came to play for the Marlies. Wayne Carlton, and lo and behold, you should have seen the equipment they were wearing. I was embarrassed to empty out my duffel bag. They made us wear a Niagara Falls. It's embarrassing. But, and I knew it's maybe you treat better when you make the show. Get in the National Hockey League. Better.
Oh, for sure. But, I mean, here you join the Niagara Falls Flyers. And you go to the Memorial Cup that fall, that spring.
Yeah.
Win the Memorial Cup.
Yeah. That was Memorial Cup against Edmonton Oilers. And there had been a big brawl going on. That's my line. Donnie Marcotte and Clem Tremblay, Tibet, used to call him Tibet. And yeah, so these guys went to the West Coast, and we all went out there. And that series we played the year before, they beat Canada. They beat Niagara Falls up. Broken arms, and they had broken arms and a broken wrist, and they had stitches you couldn't count them, and they really intimidated Niagara Falls. And Hap Ems came back. He said, "Oh, that'll never happen to me again." And he got a lot of tough guys. You know, Rosaire Pimant is in that picture. These are the guys that were really the salt of the earth. They were, I mean, grand. And you know, when you get out there and you understand it, you know, the dynamic in Canada with the English and the French was when I was playing there. I think we had 12 kids from Quebec. Wow. And in the mornings, right, they had, we had a morning skate, just us. And I'd have to go to school every once in a while. I get to do that when they were around. And I said to my dad, I started working on him. I said, Dad, you know, these French Canadian players, they can really, really skate, handle a puck on their feet. And that's that extra tea time. And that 3 in the morning, that's 3 hours in the morning is a pretty nice learning curve. And he said, well, maybe son, yeah, quit, bang. Now I've got them as my morning skate. And we played from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock every morning. It was, and you really got a lot better playing, throwing forward, playing against guys that were better than Goldsworthy, Tommy Webster. I don't know if Tommy Webster's on that team. Might have come a year later. But we had talent. And But we also had toughness. John Pronovo was somebody you never wanted to fool with. He got 55 goals in Pittsburgh. So it was a fun night. And I went to say, Antonio, I was going to teach you guys English. And they looked at Gilles Marat, remember Gilles? And he said, okay, Bernie Perron doesn't speak much English. He goes, ask him. He says, ask him. He says, I said, oh, okay. And he says, there's 12 of us, and there's one of you. Why don't we teach you French? And I did, and it was fabulous. And I really enjoyed it. Then I started going to the golf tournaments up in Quebec. Yeah, they did the whole tour. Started out of Montreal, went across to Quebec, up north, around, worked way down. Dennis DeJordy, all those guys had the great tournaments. And it was fun every summer. And I could actually speak conversational French.
Fantastic. December 11th, 1965, a dream come true. You go to Maple Leaf Gardens and make your NHL debut against the Leafs. Can you tell me about your very first game, Derek?
My first game was something, first of all, you're horrified. You know it's going to come sooner or later. And I would watch. Davey Keown was my favorite. He's very, very good with a stick. Teeter Kennedy, very good with a sweep check. It's nobody else has. It's a shame. And the forwards today don't even understand it. But it was an amazing thing. You get called, and I was in the dressing room in the morning, and I do my warm-up skate, and Chop calls me in, stop that. He goes, better get ready, go back and eat something. Eddie Westfall, I got to take the bus back to the Bruins. With Eddie Westfall, the Bruins brought you up for tonight. I said, oh my God, no, God. And it was a Leaf, so it isn't like I guessing. And I said, oh, I'm going to play in Toronto. And I told my dad that was one of the proudest moments of his life, but I did not know what to do. I have a little junior jacket on, Niagara Falls Flyers. Everybody had a camel jacket. I took my stick-on tie. And I got my skates. Everything was good. So I went and get on the bus, and the first two in the bus were saved by Eddie. So Betty and I side by each right there in the front of the bus. And I said, Eddie, what do I do? What do I do? What happened? He goes, everything you've learned in the last 4 years, they've taught you. It was the same rule with me. The last 4 years, I played the same system that you're playing now. So the Bruins system was a connection to a certain way to play. And unfortunately, toughness wasn't that big a deal if you were putting the puck in the net. So they try to combine both toughness and resiliency and all sorts of things like that. But you go and you're in the dressing room and you walk in and you don't know what to do. And you're horrified. You just, please don't get anybody start teasing me, because I had a real temper. And I come in and Ronnie Stewart started it. I was they put the chair next to the toilet. It's ready to put you. That's the spot where rookies get dressed.
Okay.
Right here. The trainer, Dan Canny, come right there, son. Threw my skates down and my duffel bag, and he got all the equipment. I said, I brought some from Niagara Falls. So, okay, you can use as much as that as you need to. And then I got, nothing was really upgraded. So I didn't feel too bad. But, yeah. And then Foster Hewitt comes on and voiced it. Wow. It's a real busying. I tell you what, it's a stumble. But so grateful. First time I went on the ice, like Mario Lemieux scored the first time, right? So I went on the ice and I got a shift to play. There, Boston was losing 5-4-0. At about the 14, 15 minute mark. And I'm going, So I didn't play in the first period. I got to play in the second period. It was 6-0.
Oh, geez.
So me out. And I went over the boards and I stumbled. My legs were that weak. And I said, Eddie Westfall, what do I do? He said, do what you've learned the last 4 years. And okay, so you curl, you cut, and you follow and you do it that way. And guess what? That's the way they play. So it was great that he had that ability to kind of calm me down. I've known Eddie Westfall since I was probably 12. He was a lifeguard at the arena. He was a lifeguard at the swimming pool back in Niagara Falls, the municipal pool. Yeah. So Eddie he used to throw me out skipping and running and stuff like that. He disciplined me. He made me sit against the fence. I used to plow the ice through for him when I was, and anyone else still thought that was okay. And but when I announced it, and it's a great honor really to be brought into the fold, whether you make it or not. Even if they thought you could play that game, but that is so tough with 6 teams. Everybody could play.
Yeah.
It wasn't any sleight of hand. You drop the puck, boom. You didn't have maybe a tick on the clock and a bit, make up your mind. And then that's a decision you make right there and you commit to it. If you don't, you hesitate, that guy can come 15 feet. And Happens would always, Bill Long had always drove me into that. And the guy can get there in 15 feet if you redo something. So, and I come down, my dad, remember Alan Stanley?
Sure, of course.
Well, Alan Stanley, he got hurt in Boston. I think he broke his leg. My dad said, son broke his leg. He's like a horse, a racing horse. Should have shot him. And I went, Dad. And he says, okay. He said, sound very slow, very slow. Go around him like a hoop around a barrel. He said. I went out, I got the pass, and I'm looking for the pass. I see Stanley over here. Stanley's 18, 20 feet from me over there on my left. And then on the other side, I got, somebody sliding it up the board, right? And I looking for it. Come on. In those days, you could go over center ice, right? So I went, come on. And that was so I grabbed it and turned, and there was Alan Stanley right there.
Oh,
I couldn't believe he came from 20 feet away, and I only did a pick. Bang! I never even started to see him coming. And ended up at the smelling salts.
Oh.
Ended up crawling off the ice, and right by the gate, our trainer reached out on the gate and said, wow, they can hit.
Oh, jeez. Wow. Well, you still had one more year of junior eligibility in 66. Okay. 66, 67 was a pretty amazing year for you. You're captain of the Flyers. You end up being the leading scorer in the league and winning the Eddie Powers Trophy, an All-Star. But there was also a situation where the Oshawa Generals and the Niagara Falls Flyers were both parts of the Boston Bruins organization. You guys had to go down to Boston for a special game, and you had a little time with Bobby Orr at that time. Tell us about that, Derek.
Bobby Orr, we thought Bobby Orr was coming to us in Niagara Falls. And that's quite the deal, Bobby Orr. When, then, or every other time. So, anyway, they took him away to the juniors and created a whole other league.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like it. They created a whole different league for the guy. And he would play against the Marlies. He played some other teams in there, and St. Michael's. And then all of a sudden, I moved the franchise, and that collapsed and became an add-on to the OHA, Oshawa Generals. And then you get to see Bobby. First I saw Bobby, he was 14, maybe 13. I was 15. He came to camp, junior camp. And it was like lightning in a bottle. This kid was the name of the game right off the bat. I've been hearing about him like Tiger Woods since I was 10. And this kid coming up broke all records and Pee Wee and Midget and Bantam and all that stuff. And he was really, I wasn't in awe of him, but I tell you what, I was amazed at the game he had at that 13, 14. And just a good, tremendous handler of the puck. It's just so hard to get it off him. And anyway, my dad, we're all pulling out on the box in the morning, and I get my seat, and him with the guys. We were at the team you showed me. We weren't afraid of anybody of that team. So he comes up and says, I pull out the curb, and boom, boom. He says, what are you doing? I must have stopped in the middle of the street. And got up around the seat and goes, your father wants you. I said, okay. And I said, oh, geez, embarrassing. I'm not down here, son. Come on. And he says, give me a little pet talk. He said, there's going to be 2 players are going to watch today. Bobby Orr and the one who beats him up. And I just knew what to do. I mean, I'm going to fight Bobby Orr. Hopefully he was going to be on my team. And boom, first couple of years, I had a little scuffle with him. Not much wrestling match, but yeah, he took on Bobby Orr, and I'm sitting there for that night at the Bruins game, and the guy standing there and says, "Hey, you the kid fought Bobby, right?" Or I said, "Yeah, hey, congratulations, you're with us." My type of fan. So I said, "Good, I love it when I get here." But it was a lot of fun.
Very good. Hey, help us clear up a mystery, if you would. Tracy Gibson has asked us a question that I was curious about as well, but many people have known you as Turk. Where did that nickname come from, Derek?
That nickname, I have lied about it so often, I really don't know the right answer. But it was a signal that we got. I was in a game one time, and I dropped the puck because the guy called my name. I never looked at him. Your opposing players are going to know who you are.
Yeah.
So what are you doing? And I dropped it, and it was a 3-on-1. Everybody going. I drop it inside the blue line, and nobody behind us.
Oh.
They wheeled up with it, 3-on-0 breakaway, and bang! So Tommy Cottinger, my goaltender, my pal, he was our goalie, and he went sneaky. Right? Would you ever do that again? And we're gonna have to make gobble signs. We're gonna have some kind of here, gobble gobble, you turkey, and stuck. He swears it started that way, and I have no viable proof of proving it didn't. Outside of that,
but it sure is a great story.
Yeah, and it's the real story, the only story. And Tommy Cottinger and I, we golf every year, except for the stupid pandemic, and play as member guests. A lot of fun.
Very, very good. 67, 68, you become a member of the Boston Bruins. It's they've been out of the playoffs for so many years. Even Bobby Orr as a rookie in 66, 67 couldn't lead them to the promised land in spite of the fact he won the Calder and all these sorts of things. But all of a sudden, things start to change. You're part of the team. Bobby's in his second year.
And they make a big trade.
Trade with Chicago brings Esposito, Hodge, and Stanfield over to Boston as well. Eddie Shack, part of the team too. Talk to us about the Boston Bruins of 67, 68, and how Bobby, even though he was a young guy, it was really kind of the leader even early on and instilled different things with the team as well.
Yeah, always, Kevin. He was always the leader. And, he's one of those guys born a leader. They just give to you the best player around, right? So, but Bobby was a great leader. Bobby was, he wouldn't let you sleep. What's the matter with you out there? What do you mean? I thought I was playing great. And I remember one night I got 3 goals, right? And I called my dad up and I said, "Hey, I got that." He goes, "Yeah, you better put this ego back in your head." And Bobby was that type of guy. He knew you would accomplish something, but if you weren't used to it, you might go right back into it. So he'd get on you pretty good. And there's a pillar in the dressing room, and he was blocked out. I couldn't see through the pillar. And he came in one night, he threw his equipment, and at the end of the first period. And I said, Phil Esposito sat beside me. I said, "Hey, Phil, is he looking?" Phil would reach out. Oh yeah, he's looking. Come on. I go this side. Yeah, and he just didn't let you sleep. You got to get in it. You got to get playing. Pick it up. And that's it for everybody's game. You can't worry about your own game. Right? He had the ability to do all that. And when he gave you a compliment, it was a serious hard work for a compliment. But it was he was fabulous. He's a good kid. And I don't get to see him anymore very much.
Right.
Get out of the house because of the silly pandemic. Can't play golf.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was a really close-knit team from that point on. And didn't he instill the two drink rule within the?
The 2 beer rule. The 2 beer rule. After on the road, everybody on the road, right? 2 beer rule. I don't care if you drink 2 or not. He never. So a lot of guys didn't, and I could take it or take it or leave it. But when you look at in those days, it was everybody stayed together. That got you in the dressing room, and with all your mind off of things around you, after you get used to it, Nobody went alone. And I was on those 18, 19, 20 guys. You're always in safety because you were in a group. And the way we stuck together on the ice was the same. Bobby stood up before training camp and he said, anybody on this team, right, that gets in a fight, you won't be in it alone for long. The closest guy to you is going to jump the guy as well. And that established the Bruins philosophy of he ran and beat you up. And it just took over in 68 and 69. And then we were in the playoffs. My first year in the playoffs. And the Bruins were just thrilled. And Bobby let us out of the hinterland there. And it's all kind of moot point at this point. Everything greatest about the kid is said, but he was, without question, the greatest.
For sure. Harry Sinden sat you down. You'd already won the Calder Trophy. You could score, you could check, you could do these things, but he assigned you with a specific role to be a penalty killer and to be the third line center and work that way. It had to be hard for you to accept in a lot of ways, but boy, did you embrace that role, Derek. Can you talk about playing that role with the Boston Bruins?
Yeah, I was. Nobody knows I was the left point in the power play my first year.
Yeah.
And then Harry designed the power play, Sinden, best hockey mind I ever met. And he designs the power play. And he says, it doesn't work, Derek, with you at center. It works with you being a checking line. And I had a reverence for checking and not allowing you couldn't, as a forechecker, you can make your opponent do what he does not want to do. Give him the easy out and take everything else away from him. And then the puck was going to know, you're going to know which side the puck's coming up. Eddie Westfall would be there, Andy Markout would be there, or Mike Walton, or whoever's on the outside. And that's the way we played as a team. And when we got the other team got a penalty, we just went over the boards. We didn't question it. That's Eddie Westfall and I. And I was talking about it. It's so analyzed, and I look around, and one day I finally came to my senses. And the guy at CBS Sports, he says, "How do you like that penalty killing? You're really good at it. You get for and he says it's important." And I couldn't understand. He said, "You're going to lose money. I mean, you're going from possible power play to lose it down to the checking line." And Harry Sinden says, and I want you to bring penalty killing to an all-time status. Follow along with it. We're going to be playing it a lot. And I said, okay, well, what's your total like that? And he asked you. I said, that won't get very much money. And he said, well, don't worry about the money. We all know what you did, and you'll get the money. Management knows. But you sacrifice. Okay. And that was it for me. I was fine. And gave me a role, gave me something to do. And it was, anyway, I was proud of it. We were very proud of it. And they asked me this one night, and I said, well, remember, look back at how many times we killed those penalties. Bobby Orr was on the ice.
Yeah.
And I looked out of it. I said, you mean, yeah, I was there every time. And I said, well, you never gave the puck up so you could trust it. So you can do anything you want. The other puck is you'll take care of it. And when you make a mistake, Bobby's always behind you. And there were a few mistakes he made. Well, the best goaltending in the world, Cheever Johnson. So we're good to go.
Absolutely. You talked about money now. All of a sudden, you came into a great deal of money when Joe Namath came into your life and embraced you as a partner in Bachelors 3. Talk about that experience, Derek.
That's a whole other thing. Boo.
Yeah.
I am from Niagara Falls, Ontario. Played my junior there. Grew up there, and my first summer off, right? 67, 68, my first summer off, and did a couple of stupid things. Had $600, spent that. That was the end of my summer, right? My second year, I got a call because I had one Rookie of the Year, and Joe Namath said, I need a partner to expand. You remember Peter Zell did all that about his gambling and all these bookies in his restaurant? Sure. Yeah. So he said, he told him, he said, you got to quit. You can't be bothering me. And Joe says, I'll quit if you force me to do that. And he said, no. And he was on the television with the eyes and crying and said, I hate to lose but my friends and I, we run this bar. And Pete Rozelle said, I'll help you open up wherever else, Joe. And so they needed someone in Boston to open up with. And he says, well, Derek said, I said, how does it mean? Why does it mean? He says, well, there was 4 guys. He said there was Bobby Orr, much too clean an image. Doesn't kind of go with mine. And maybe that was a mistake. I should have realized at the time. And so he came up with this idea, and this Kenny Harrelson, going to get traded with the Red Sox. He had 34 home runs that year. He said he'll be traded, and I said, well, okay. He says there's Tony Conigliaro, and Tony Conigliaro was too handsome, and he said he had a bigger ego than me. So you're it, kid. And I was making $11,000. He gave me $30,000. Wow. And a new Lincoln town car. And wow, I'm already ahead of the game. I was getting my carpet in my apartments because I was giving out tickets. So I can afford this. And that was it. Never looked back. We opened up the Bachelor's 3 in Boston. It was an instant success. And Joe taught me what the power of the pen is?
Only because you've told me, but I wouldn't have known otherwise. Tell me about it.
I didn't know either.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that did. And I had to kind of learn it. It was when you write a check, you write your name for a check, right? And you say, Kevin, you and some friends come in. I'll go by. How you doing? How's the food? Bang. And it's good. And I'd sign it. Then you didn't have to pay for it.
Right.
And I should just take care of the waitresses. So the waitresses were getting the lion's share of the major drops and tips. So they were happy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you were pretty famous around that time anyway. But when you came out with your pregame meal and telling people that it was a steak and a blonde, boy, oh boy, things kind of exploded, didn't they, Derek?
Well, that was his. He got that started. Joe actually said that, not me. And it was one of those things that I got everything went to the side and got laid on me. I didn't really ever say the blonde, no. And it's a total garbled message. The two phrases together, yeah, sometime, but out of context. I didn't really think that. And I was dedicated. I was in bed like noon after your skiing days, skate around. We didn't do the silly skate around they do today. I don't get you to do a whole set of equipment changeover because you've been sweating. You get back in here, you're freezing to death. So I never go for that morning workout. You get an hour, and they're up there an hour in the morning sometimes.
Jeez.
It's like a whole game. So it was different.
The team was so great. The Bruins go to the Stanley Cup final. They're playing against the St. Louis Blues, and it's Mother's Day, and you played a big role in having people remember that Mother's Day, May 10th, 1970. Tell us about the overtime, Derek.
Well, part of the design that we were coming up on that, and they asked us, "Oh no, it's a good team. No, they got the Plager brothers, they got Gary Younger, they got some players can play, and it's Glenn Hall and goal. So I'll tell you what." And Harry played it. He didn't say, "Okay, guys, roll over, throw your sweaters out on the ice, and you get you 2 points." No. He says, "You guys are going to have to work for this." And we had good success in the first 3 games. Wasn't anybody in St. Louis's fault of the goalie, just some nice plays. Busick and Stanfield moved, and Phil was great, by whatever. So you look at all this stuff in St. Louis tonight. I guess the 4th game is in Boston. So I went in a tuxedo. And I walked in the dressing room, and Eddie Johnson says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm dressed up for the game, for celebration after." He goes, "You haven't won it yet. And you're going to look like an ass if we lose coming out of this building with a tuxedo on." Those are the things I did kind of spontaneous. There wasn't a lot of thought put into much of what I did. So I'm getting the okay. And it's 3-3 after 3. Wow. Did not. Oh. And I remember Harry sitting on it. We always got along on points of the game. And I have never seen a coach ever prove it to himself, but this one did. He said, well, who to start in the third period? Who to start against their big line, Gary Unger and so he was a great player, tough kid too. Wow.
Yeah.
Great opponent. Anyway, we get out there and it's Harry says, well, went back and forth and he had little games he played with himself. And he went up and he comes over to me. He says, you up for this? Yeah. Says, all right, shut him down. And that's all, quiet thing to me. And, Eddie Westphal got a little look and a nod. But the idea behind that, my line starting in that game at that time, was that Harry Sinden always believed that most overtime in the 6-team league, they ended quickly. And some component of whatever was or wasn't there in either team, and that get used to a grind first 2-3 minutes. It's important. And he said, I do not want them obviously scoring early. So I'm going to get this game into the ebb and flow of a game, and we've got all the tools to beat them after that. And we went out there and dumped it in. Donnie already kept it in one side, and there's Bobby giving it to me there, and he just right on the stick, blink, and he wasn't even waiting. I mean, the goalie, a great play. Bobby gets tripped second after he's supposed to. Game's already over. Well, Picard. He's already chipped. Mad at him. But that was, thank God he scored that. Yeah.
One of the greatest photos of all time. One of the great plays.
Yeah. Thank God I was in it, Kev. Where would I be then?
Well, so your dad came on the ice, and you didn't even know your dad was there, and he had to fulfill a promise to you.
Did not know, yes. How did you know that?
I just know.
Huh. Yeah, I didn't know he was there. And that's in the Bruins. The guys already threw him in the shower. He goes, oh my God, Jimmy, I only got one suit. And it was one of the cheapies that would have shrunk, so he figured to throw the suit away. But yeah, there's a hockey father between him and I, boy. And I tell you what, he really loved that moment. He loved that trip. One of the kindest, sweetest guys in the world you ever want to meet. Type of guy you don't fool around, mess with, because then you flip out. What a sweet man, my dad. And he asked me to get 3 sticks for friends of his back at the plant, General Motors in St. Catherine. So I got 3. All the teams assigned 3 sticks, and he's carrying them out. And this young kid comes around, Dad, sir, look, I'll keep you got 3. I don't need just one. I say, Dad, whoa, calm the kid down, take it easy, don't leave him alone. And the kid's going, no, and my dad falls on feels bad. Okay, give him a stick. I said, Dad, what'd you do? Where's the other stick? And I looked back. I said, well, go look behind you. I wonder if I thought it was that kid, and he was up on a little crate, auctioning his stick off. The kid was auctioning his stick off right there live. And I said, wow, see, the kid didn't want the stick. He wanted money to sell it. So that was the good, the bad, But it was something my dad always. Imagine that, son. Why would he ever do that? It was farthest thing from his mind that anybody do that.
Right.
That fast.
Now, you would promise, as a young boy, you would promise your dad something special to have a pair of tacks. Did he get his ring?
Oh, yeah, I remember. As the story went, I said I want the tacks, and he said, well, that's, you know how much money that is, son? That's a month's payment. It's a month's salary. They're only taking $26 a week to take home. And back in those days, it was in the 50s and 60s. There was a lot of money made, So he always used to fold up little bills and hide them and scurry them away and get them together. And he had it one time. Like he had it for my prom, same type guy. And he said, it's just one of those things to do. and but the skates is something I was important with. To me, that was, and I said to him, Dad, I figured, I'm thinking, and I said, Dad, if I win the Stanley Cup, I'll give you the ring, no problem. And he said, hold you to it. And I said, all right, no problem. So this many, 7, 8, 9 years later, and I on the ice, and all the people come on the ice, and I didn't know who they were, and they couldn't stop themselves sliding, And I hit this one of them. I just dropped my shoulder into one of them. It's my dad. Sliding up, couldn't control himself. I give one of those. Oh, and he put it down on the ice. He goes, you finally hit somebody. And he said, but that ring is mine. And
perfect.
At the beginning, I don't know why. That was the fixation with him. But I never mentioned it again after giving me the skates. We never talked about it again.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Ed Norris wants you to talk about purchasing Daisy Buchanan's and leaving Bachelors 3.
What, and Daisy's and selling it?
No, he wants to talk about the establishing Daisy Buchanan's.
Oh, yeah. They wanted to do that. I didn't move and got started, but I really don't know what happened to that, Kevin.
That fall, you open Daisy Buchanan's. It's your own bar, your tending bar. You've got friends coming in all the time. It was a busy time, that's for sure. Here you are behind the bar right there. Loving
Kevin,
that.
you wouldn't believe that night. That night there, I became a casualty. And this one, I'll honestly admit, I might have been a little over the board here. And I used to get the tip for the waitresses and laughs. And if you bought, boom, we get it for you. And you kept the change. So you keep the guy gives you $100 bill, and you keep the change from 2 drinks. Come on, you're in on it. Let the waitress have a good time. And it's amazing how people let the waitresses keep it.
Wow.
Big night they made. Every time I did it after that, I made a lot of money for the help.
Your public profile just escalated beyond belief over that time. Certainly, it had escalated to begin with, but to win the Stanley Cup as well, you get your own TV show too. Talk about the Derek Sanderson show. What was it? Everybody's talking at me. The Derek Sanderson show.
Yeah, some show that was. I had, I think, 13 weeks. It's very, you got that too, do you? And look at the shirt. Oh my God.
I love it.
Well, I can walk.
Well, there.
I have never seen me walk.
There's Bill Haley from Bill Haley in the comments. Whoops, that's not Bill.
Yeah.
There we go.
And that was Monica. She was the representative of the Playboy Club, yeah. And you got to remember the young kid show. Oh, get the heat for that. But it was a show that I remember one time the producer gave me 12 questions for a guest I knew nothing about. And it was Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory was the fight back humor of the African, the Native American,
He was a political activist who was also a comedian. Yeah.
Yes, he was. And I didn't know that. And I asked him the 12 quick questions. And I went to the 12 questions in maybe 6 minutes.
Oh, geez.
And now I'm stuck. I don't know anything about the man. I said, hey, you're pretty popular on you mind doing a stand-up for us? And everybody clapped. And he went, sure. He just finished the show.
Oh, perfect. Jeez. Well, TV
got me right off the hook, Kevin.
Perfect. TV wasn't new to you by any means. You became an especially special guest of Johnny Carson as well.
Yeah, I did, Johnny. I think I did that show 3 times, and I did Murph Griffin. That's why I get more and more people know me off the ice than on. It's people are the folks are greater they are the greatest fans in the world, but those fans are really basically looking behind the track record.
But all good. What a year that year. You got 29 goals. It was your career best. The Bruins finished in first place, 121 points. It looked like back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, and then all of a sudden, it's Ken Dryden and the Montreal Canadiens, and it didn't work out the way you'd planned.
We had a great single record-breaking season, breaking all sorts of records. Bobby, Phil, power play, all that stuff. And I still wasn't sure, right? That's my rookie year. That's the rookie
There
rookie.
you go.
Yeah. So anyway, I got to quit watching the film.
There we go.
I got to stop watching the film. Oh boy,
Look at that. Hello.
Wow. I beat him from the blue line. The Bowser. Wow. Do you think he couldn't play? Oh. Is that one with Johnny Bauer in goal? And he got no face mask on then.
He only wore it in his last game. I'm not 100% sure that it was
Did he?
Johnny Bauer, but nevertheless, hell of a goaltender. That's for sure. Big loss. There you are against the Canadiens.
Yeah.
The Gumper in goal.
Yeah.
Nice
and I tell you what, when we went to the whole thing, and we're really proud of it, and it's not great season. I back in my mind, I still know gonna miss Harry Sinden. Remember that. This is gonna haunt you. When the summer prior, I was out playing golf and I had my radio on, and out of the blue, Harry Sinden has resigned from Hamilton and left. Bruins wouldn't re-sign him. Right? I said, "You're the best coach in the world. What are you doing?" And I pulled over side of the road and I phoned the Bruins. Get on this. Do not let this happen. And they said, no, they parted ways over, I think it was $1,700.
Oh, geez.
He wanted a new contract to win Stanley Cup because he wasn't under contract. And it'd been 4 years with him. And then comes, next day, and it was crazy. Everything was everything else. And I watched, nobody paid attention how important this negotiation was. And then Harry wasn't there anymore. Went to camp, it wasn't the same camp. Harry Sinden kept the room where it was supposed to be. And he built a room too, and it was part of who he was and what he was in the hockey minds of what people that did things in those days. And we had to beat them. I remember Harry, as good as we were, every night he would have something to concentrate on, something to think about. Don't go out there and just not think of anything. And he did that every night. And if you were flat and down, boom, listen to Harry for a while, and you pretty well were psyched up. And on the other hand, Tommy Johnson, his philosophy, thought we were better than gold. And I said, no, we're not. Well, it came down. I love Tommy Johnson. We lost and we won with Tommy Johnson. So it was a year of getting used to things. And I don't think the team needed at that time to let Harry Sinden go for $1,500, $1,700. That would have only bumped him up to about $6,500. It's not a lot for coach today. It makes $1 million, $1.5 million. And then you go to football, they get $12 million, $15 million. Come on. And Harry made that, and that's all he wanted. With some security for his family. Not in those years, boy.
Ernie Lepore wants to know how devastated the team was after losing to the Canadiens in 71.
Stunned.
Yeah.
Stunned. There is one guy in that room who thought Dryden played as well, and a lot of people hit him. Right? Dryden is a goaltender, was the first goaltender anyone in hockey, except for college, have seen play all your life. We played against short goalies. A lot of them can't get there. A lot of them didn't have the crossbar when they go in and have to hold it with their head.
Oh, boy.
Some got 150 pounds, 145 pounds. 5'5", 5'7". Look at Emile Francis. He played, and that was unaccepted. And no, then we got to go against a goaltender that drops and doesn't stand up, but he drops, flares his pads, and he got these gloves, and you look it up, make a play, go back. You've already took the photograph of the shot you want, and you shoot it. And his hand, instead of being here, was up here. And he was just where the old line was good. This is a whole different response. The rebounds with him. He didn't stop. Convention go, a big thing, get back on your feet. Not him. He'd stop from diving. And I think that's one of the greatest goaltender changes that's ever really come along. It's the Dominic Hasek, who I think is the best goalie ever. And he was a behind the back, grabbing things. He just didn't quit, and that was the that sense of doing your job. Just don't quit. Don't get up. Just crawl along, get in and grab something. And he did everything with that. And Ken Dryden was that. The only thing I can figure out is that he's that big guy came to you as a shock. Because I don't think he played that whole year, did he?
I don't know. He came later in the season.
Yeah, I don't think he. No, he wasn't. I don't think he was. He was I thought a playoff goalie.
Yeah. In fact, the next season he won the Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. So no one else saw him either.
Yeah.
And Kevin, that's a shock to your system.
Oh,
where you played it your whole life, and goalie's down. Now the goalie's up there. Bleh. It made himself a lot bigger. And I think probably we're stealing and cheating with the goal pad started that era anyway.
So you're a hockey star, you're a TV star. What about a film star? All of a sudden, there's this movie called Face Off that you had a cameo in. Tell us about Face Off.
Oh, cameo it was. Needed that like I needed a hole in the head. I was gonna say that as and I do that. I don't know. It's I couldn't act. I don't know why we were doing what we were doing, right? But I couldn't act. And it was a struggle. I got a whole different respect for actors and actresses.
But you did it, and you did it well.
I did well. People, glad I had you say you did well. I didn't terrible, but it was an experience.
We got to talk about now, and
yeah, it's one of those cold films.
Yeah,
it's. I remember. We had a guy. The director wanted the shot from Jim McKenney, who was a fall-in for that kid there, was the actor.
Art Hindle, yeah.
Yeah, Mark Hindle. And also memory for a minute. And he took it and he shot it. It was point to the net. Get to the low corner. And he did, and we slap it in. And then he had the real thing. And he kicked his foot out and stopped it. No. And kicked it, stopped it. And then when he finally made it, was the final take for the goal. They started to grab and rolling, and next thing you know, he stops it. And the director goes out of his mind. What don't you understand? I said, well, I don't speak a lot of English. So, boom. And he went berserk. He said, I'm not doing it. He said, no one ever scored me from the Bruins. Okay. That's pretty proudful, but I'll go on with it. And he left, got undressed. So I put the equipment on and I went out. And I always thought I could be a goalie. Oh, it was easy for me to fake missing the shot from the blue line. And the first one was in, first take. Bing. And he did a great job. And it was all cheering and all that stuff. And Mark Hindle was great with everybody because you need the actresses to make it feel good and the actors to know what you're doing. Because there was a lot of players in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of different players and different themes.
George Armstrong, who we just lost, was in it as
well. Yeah. Army was there.
Yep.
It's a guy who gets sick and will beat you in a phone booth.
Yeah. So you got stymied in the spring of 71, but you came back the next year and won the Stanley Cup in 72, facing off against the Rangers in Madison Square Garden. You were detested in New York, and yet here you are winning the Stanley Cup in their rink.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Talk about 72.
That was a fun time. They picked a straw dummy with a Bruins sweater on it, a pair of hockey pants tied to filled it with straw, and he strung me up. They struck me up from the rafters, and they burned me in effigy. They lit it, but all that had fallen down on the big money people in the boxes because they were on a third tier. And whoa, a whole different world. And playing with him, we lost Phil.
Yeah,
and I really thought that was going to be a problem. But he had his knee hurt in the playoffs, and we were fortunate enough to win it. That was the last of it. Because you go into a series without Phil Esposito, that could have been very much the end of it, no matter who you're playing. But, We had a team.
So you win the Stanley Cup. That's your second one now. Top of the world. What a team you had. And then the World Hockey Association comes along, and they're going to inaugurate themselves in 1972, looking for stars, looking for glamour, looking for color. And they talk about a number of different guys, Bobby Hull, and they've got
Bobby Hull, yeah. He was the first guy that he brought to court.
But they chased after different guys, including
Sanderson. They tried Bobby Hull as a sight case, and he went into Philadelphia. And in the courtroom, and the guy said, Judge Higginbottom was his name.
Right.
And he said, I can't allow this to happen. Sports as we know change. And I didn't see the big picture like he did. What do you mean, change? Well, it did. Really changed. They said no to Bobby Hull, shut down the WHA, everything was dead, and then Philadelphia guy came to me. And I don't know why me. I said Johnny McKenzie was talking to me, and he was their player coach. So I said, yeah, I'll go with you, Pi. And he said, listen to the money, Derek. This money's real. All right. And I went in there, and the guy offered me, never negotiated, shook hands with him, and he said, I'm here to give you $1.6 million.
Wow.
No, I'm lying to you. $1.4 million. And I said, oh yeah. I said, I don't know. It's a lot of money. And he said, well, if you're not happy with that, I can go as high as $1.6 million.
Wow.
I understand that. I knew I wasn't a hockey guy, but he's a good guy. And that was it. So I go around it, went to court, beat it, and off it went.
But you were able to push the envelope, and you played a cat and mouse sort of game without even realizing it. But
yeah. I'll tell you one thing I learned from that. Yeah, one thing I learned from that negotiation?
What's that?
Anyone can win any negotiation you want if your opposition wants you. You don't know their excuses. And your opposition wants you. And you have to fear, get up, and walk out. And they will come back so quick, so fast. It's the time that they promised somebody else you get it done. And now it ain't happening. So now you're going after another one. That's me signing a picture in Philadelphia. That's my lawyer friend.
Your dad is hired as a scout.
Yeah, my dad. Oh, you want the contract? Oh, wow. Yeah. It ended up insane. I didn't have to play road games. I didn't have to. I got speed on the road, and it was anything I wanted. They were great people. The guy's wife picked out those colors, by the way. Don't come into the room hungover with those on in the morning. Whoa.
You end up being the highest paid athlete in the world at this point. It's extraordinary. More than Pele, more than anybody else.
I was tied with Pele.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the thing, Pele. And I just saw in that morning in the papers, New York Cosmos signed Pele for $1.6 million. And I said to him, hey, I should give you 50,000 more, and I'd be the highest paid athlete in the world. Okay, another 50.
Jeez.
I don't know why they did it either. And that's the last time I was healthy right there.
There you go. Well, you start the season playing against the New England Whalers in your old home territory, October 12th, 72. You play the first home game for the Philadelphia Blazers, October 13th, 1972. And it sure didn't go the way that people had hoped.
No, it did not go the way the programmers had planned it. So we're out there skating around games, and I never was in training camp. I was like maybe 20 pounds overweight, 15, and wasn't at all in shape for it. Didn't have a training camp. I was in newspapers and articles and doing the walk around, but the game was it was crazy, and we didn't know if it was going to be successful or not. And I want to tell you sort of on the exhibition we played. Over here.
Was it Quebec?
Yeah, no, an exhibition game.
Yeah.
And we look around, and I'm in the warm up, mind you. I'm looking around. There's nobody there, but there's a little clump of people over the bench. And I said, "Whoa, this is crazy." We go back in, and we're going out. Bernie Perron is going to be our starting goalie. And he went out, stood in the crease, and I was on the blue line taking shots, and he puts his hand up, skates by me. I'm not going to risk my life for 18 people.
Oh, jeez.
I said, I never looked at Bernie. I played with bad crowds. It's just a joke. Sherbrooke, I think it was. He's Belanger. Was a goalie, and he was from there. And there's all those 18 people were his family.
Oh, jeez.
Nobody. I said, well, this league is not going to survive. What have I done? And so I thought better of it.
Tell us about opening night. It was one pages.
Anyway, there's big fanfare. Broad Street bullies, step over, lean over, all that stuff. Right? I have no idea what that is. So, all right. Back to the game, right? Where are we? Opening night?
Opening
night. Big night. Everybody's getting everything, right? And I hear this hollow sound when I'm on the ice. It's like, remember when you were a kid and you played out on a shell ice? Kind of echo?
Oh, yeah.
You'd step on it, and the guys are going by in circles, around the circle. I could hear when you cut through the ice, it's different than what I've ever heard in my life. And I said, it's going to be a problem. So I said to Bill Friday, who was the referee, I went out to him and said, Bill, we might not be able to play this game. And he says, oh, looks fine to me. And chips in the ice, and he was all making it up. And we came down to maybe 2 minutes of warm up, and one of the guys, they lost the puck. It went down. And I said, what happened? And she says, well, they say they built the boards 4 inches too far away from the ice, from the pipes. I said, you kidding me? I said, you kidding me? He said, I'll fill that up. We'll fill that up when you're in the room, Derek. I said, I still don't like this ice. So we go off. And we're going to start to come out. And they'd given everybody an orange rubber hockey puck. Real rubber, real deal. And we went into the, and I said, okay, look out, as I come up, we have 3 of us. We have to take elevators up, right? Three, and get to the ice. And then we're all there waiting to get on the ice, and the Zamboni is there. He opened the doors, grabbed a Zamboni, drove out on the ice, and went right to the tires. Down, gone. No Zamboni. It's a box sitting in the ice. And all the guys got up and looked at it and stared at it. And it said Bill Friday. He said, Bill, we're not going to play, no? Cancel it. Wrap it up. And he said, yeah, you can't do this now. I mean, fell through the ice.
Oh, geez.
And I went out with the mic. Mayor Rizzo was ended up Governor Rizzo, a police officer, all the way up from the beat to mayor. And he got involved. And he said, right on, Derek. He says, you got to learn. This isn't the time for that moment. And what you do? Hands me the mic.
Oh, jeez.
And you got all these people packed. I got all these people. And I'd like to apologize for the team. It's, this is just a mistake. Sorry, bear with us. I know you had trouble getting in here. Boom, the first puck go off my glass. Boom, second one goes out there. A couple of guys upset with the ruling, but these were pucks. And they were throwing them from 100 feet away. And they hit the bang, and the first one hit me. And I said, then I got to stop, right? And I really was going to, so I'm getting, hey, calm down. And I only come out to say sorry, but for the captain, and boom. And still dodging pucks off the ice I go. And they're still throwing them. And this kid at the gate at the end is about maybe 20 feet between where the kid is protected. No protection to where they open the door and let me in the back. And boom, I was going to away I went, and he said, no, he stood 20 feet from me. There's a puck now being thrown short. And it was amazing. I said, my God, this is going to be a first, I'll tell you that. But the season was tough. We didn't go ahead, Scott.
Well, I was just going to say, your stay in the WHA didn't last long because you got injured, and finally they'd had enough, and the owners changed, and
I
they
had a
finally
bad
brought you up.
camp. I had a bad camp, and like I said, not too many playoffs. And they were the first time I ever happened. Right, you got some mentality here of the WHA with the new rules and the pandemic, because now they're playing back to back 2 games in a row, Friday and Sunday, same guy. So they got to get those shorter seasons together. They've rescheduled it. Now they're going to have people come to Boston for a Friday, Sunday game. So they're here for 2 days. So that was always my conviction. That would be better if you did that. The game would be a lot better if you did that. But it was. And tell you what, Kevin, it was something that was so funny that nothing happened that didn't have every day. Wow, what are they doing? What are they doing? It was then the game was over. I blew up on my back, and I think in my 6th game, I'm over the board playing Cleveland. Jerry Chief was in Cleveland. I'm over the boards, and all these people throwing stuff at me. Hey, yeah, you're not worth it. You're not worth it. I said, I know I'm not worth it. Take it easy. So I go in and the puck comes out, and it's going to be a breakaway. If the puck slows down a bit, I jumped. I was going that way, and I stuck my leg out to turn right. Caught onto gum wrapper.
Oh,
Leg slipped out. It's full effort. Your leg slips out, gone, and rips up. The 4th, 5th disc on my back, and then I couldn't play for a while. And you want to know how you come back home from these things. They put me in the dressing room laying on ice. They put me, as we got on the team bus, on the floor of the bus, and they had me on the ice. Same thing on the floor in the plane. And I flew home from Cleveland to Philly. And next day, the doctor says, need your surgery on your back. And I said, well, that ain't going to happen. So that was it. And they said, jump. Now, Bernie Perron had broken his foot. Mackenzie had blown out a knee. Yves Chambeau, he got hurt. So we had nobody in goal. We had nobody doing anything. And he called me about my friend, Tommy Concha. We grew up with him. He was a big boy. And he played goal all my life for him. And I thought he was better than Perron or Doug Favell at 16, 17 years of age. He just had a big mouth. And in 16 league, he didn't have a big mouth. You get cocky, you were gone. So he had a way of burying you there. But they got Tommy. They brought him up. We're 0-21, I believe.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, like 5 ties. Top 5 ties. And Tommy comes, and it's unbelievable. 55 shots his first game. And I tell you, 55 shots, and he got from the white wall, and he had the same goal pads he had on. He would Bantam.
Oh, jeez. Well, it was an experiment that, thank goodness, came to an end for your side, and they buy you out, and you were able to return to the Boston Bruins. But it wasn't the same now, was it, Derek?
No, big difference. I think a lot of guys resented me taking the money. I know everyone did. And it was a tough go. The guys that they really did consider your teammate didn't think you'd leave, whether they got asked to go or not. Right? Yeah. And when you did, you had basically lost my train of thought, Kevin.
No, just how the dressing room had been different.
Oh. Huh. Yeah. Oh, sure, you can't even could have used the slap shot.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Oh, stripped. That's dirty. Anyway, where were we?
Just talking about going back with the Bruins. Things were a little bit different, but you were a little bit different at this point.
The guys treated a little bit different. And I looked around, and I'm sorry. Just what can you say? And Harry Sinden said to me, well, bringing you back is one thing. Getting you in this room is another. He said, you never played in the minor. These guys think you can flip over there and flip back for all the money and do nothing. I got to send you to the minors. I said, Harry, I've never been in the minors. He said, interesting. Now maybe you'll learn something. And he sent me to the the Boston Braves. They were in the World Hockey. So as a Boston Brave, I really liked it there. They were people were really good to me. I think, one night I had 2 goals, 3 assists, and I shot the puck, it went in. This was great. And Harry said, I said, well, I get the call. I'm not going. I'm staying right here. And Harry, what? No one ever turns down being called up. So I do. Oh, you said you're kidding me. Now you don't. Nah, you pull my leg. And I said, no, I like it here. Oh, come on. We have practice tomorrow. Shut up. Oh, wrong. And I went up to the practice. But I came back, and then the guys were a little miffed. But the big problem was that room. Couldn't buy that room. And I never really thought about it. How did Bobby feel about it? And that's really something else. And he came into the room, got up, walked across over to my spot, pricked my head. He said, I hope you did what you wanted to do, but it wasn't right. But it's okay now. And he shook my hand, and that was it. Boom.
Perfect.
How the rest of the team felt, accepted by Bobby. And that was a big friendship deal, too, that I did something that was not in the the National Hockey League or type mentality. You broke away from something, and it was wrong. If I knew it now, I would never have done it. I would never have signed. I would sign for my short money and stayed in Boston.
The next season, you go to the New York Rangers. Your arch enemies all of a sudden are now embracing you as a local hero. You have a great season, 25 goals, 25 assists, but all kinds of things kind of crept into your life at this time. Where was Steve Vickers?
Steve Vickers on the left side. He was a man. And I tell you what, that was a great experience. And the greatest fans in the world are in New York. And you don't know it until you're there. And I tell you what, they really go a long way for you. I'm the most welcoming crowd I ever met in my life. And I go over there, and people were great. You wouldn't believe that the upper tier in the Madison Square was kind of like the Bruins had. They had the gallery guts. We had this in New York, and that was really, if they liked you, you were in. You were in. And no better friend than a converted enemy, right?
That's so true, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have a great season.
Yeah.
But off the ice, your pain medication, your drinking had escalated. All of a sudden,
quite a bit. Pain medication.
And cocaine was part of your life as well at this point, which allowed you to drink longer, whatever. Talk about some of these excesses off the rink, if you will, Derek.
Well, what I did, Kevin, is I didn't ever had an intention of and see if I like it, right? Don't try it and see if you like it, because you're going to like it. You don't make drugs so you're not going to like taking them, and then you can get drunk and you can drink more. So I mean, it's a whole whirlwind when you get caught up. And when you're looking at it in the beginning, it's just down the road. It's this young world, storm coming down there. That's another day. Oh yeah, remember that one. And it was amazing to do, was to go out and play. And that's straight whiskey, by the way, unfortunately. And it gets worse. The decision making gets worse. And you're a little more selfish. I want what I want now. I don't want to wait till the summer. I'm just, okay, I'll do a little now and I'll play for the weekend. And I'm going to control it. I like that cocaine, liked it perfect. I'll control it. Well, it's like me saying to you, Kevin, here, try this. And you said, no, what is it? Take it. You like it.
Yeah.
It's chocolate. And you bit it. Oh, well, that's chocolate. And you throw it away. Right, if you like it. Maybe you get that, I like that. I'll do that again. There's no such reason, no word in the world for substance abuse. Abuse is drug. You know what I mean? Abuse is you like it, and now it's just a matter of controlling it to the point where you really think you're going to, and you can't. Nobody can. Matter of time. Clock goes against you, and then at the whirlpool comes really down quick. And you let it touch you, sucks you right into it, and then can't get out of it. It took a while. And I ended up in New York, Central Park, not there for practice. I was there for survival. And it's a whole other thing. It's a sad day, but it's also a lesson to be learned. Somebody could be put through that, and you get out of it. You know, tell people you can get out of it, and no one has to stay there. No one has to know. Anybody wants to know if they're alcoholic or not? Easy. Ask yourself, can I quit? And don't quit for 100 days. Quit nothing, and then you see what happens.
You talked about Central Park, and that's something that that has been attached to you as far as a story for a long time. It wasn't a very long period of time, but talk about that experience, Derek.
It wasn't. You know, something. It wasn't as bad as wrong as everybody thinks. I was pretty well. Only had 4 bad years. I just did everything in those 4 years.
Right.
I destroyed a career, destroyed my health. That. So one thing always led to another, and one beat led to another beat, and so when you get sober, it's a God-given thing. And you say, fine, take it. No control. I give up any kind of control. Can't control life, people, places, or things, so I don't bother with it.
You talked early on about how Ron Stewart didn't give you a very nice welcome when you joined the Bruins. All of a sudden, you find out he's the coach in New York. That didn't go down very well either, did it?
Well, no, I had a good year. The cat
Sure.
and I were in agreement and going to sign another one. They named Ron Stewart head coach.
Yeah.
That wouldn't work.
Yeah.
He came to me in my rookie year, and when I told you about Maple Leaf Garden,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting there, you're trying to sneak in and not cause any attention at all. Don't bring any attention to yourself. And he comes over in front of me, puts the towel down, puts a prayer rugged, bows, right? And you're the great savior, are you? You're the one to take us out of this? Because they were in 6th place for 5 years. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, somebody's going to have to. Got me in a little trouble. I don't know. I thought he heard, but there's got a.
Well, you joined the St. Louis Blues in '75. You leave New York, go to St. Louis, and you do all right there. But
the best year ever was in St. Louis. You know that? A lot of people don't know that. It was the best year I had in St. Louis.
Wow.
Me, Gary Younger, that's Bobby Gastoff in back. One of the toughest guys that ever played this game. And that's Bobby Plager with the 5 on his shirt. Barkley was 8, his other brother. And that's Gary Younger. And that was a great team, too. That team should have been a lot better than it was.
You helped solidify it as well. But again, some of the excesses got in the way, and you get sent down to Kansas City. Ultimately, your contract gets sold to Vancouver. And
I do a couple of stupid things. Bring a little bit too much heat on me. And Emil Francis came to me in the game meal, and he says, don't know if I did you any favors, Derek, but I put you on waivers yesterday. And in those days, you had the 24-hour recall. You could do it. But then when someone saw your name there, you go and pick it up. Whoop, okay. Now you're not. No, it's not. It's not. It's very distinct. Yeah. Right? And I don't know.
It's a tough time out in Vancouver for you. And ultimately you walk out and you're bought out from the team. And you've been partying day and night at this point. You thought maybe there was a career in coaching or scouting. Called on your friend Bobby Orr.
Oh, yeah. I went to Chicago. I heard Bobby was a coach. I went to see if I could get in a job. And Bobby said, well, I said, this is really, really, yeah. And so I don't know. Bobby said, you're coming with me. You're not going to be coach. We're going to put you in and get you rehab. And that's it. Bobby paid for himself. It was all over. And it helped. I got out, but I was afraid. I got out of the detox and ran. And took a couple of bouncy bad years after that. But we got up.
Yeah, you did. That's the good news. A terrible fire at home gets you burnt pretty badly.
Yeah.
And yet you survived and continued on. Your career wasn't over by any means.
Yeah, I made a couple of comebacks.
Wilson and getting another chance.
Yeah. I wasn't in the games. The legs had gone by then.
No. Now we're into 2.
We in 2 hours?
Are we?
Wow. Yeah.
We're in the 90 minutes now, so let's roll into some next part. You'd been in constant pain. Your hips had given you a tough time. Prednisone had been a big part of your life as well. 1985, you're clean. Thank goodness. It was one of the many rehabs.
1980.
And okay, 1980, and then you haven't smoked since 2002. But you've got to find a life after hockey, and it's not as easy as you think. And so, you had some problems with your lawyer. You had to start over again.
You have to remake yourself.
Right.
When you're, and it did. It worked out. A guy named John Goldsmith hired me. Great idea. Good. I wanted to be in investment business, and went from there down the road. He was a good guy, and you get older, and then you change your mind on what you're going to do. Things change. Always evolving.
You were visiting schools and helping the kids that way, but something even more happened. You met a pretty special lady while you were doing those school visits. Somebody who was doing some interviews and things of that sort. Tell me about meeting Nancy Gillis.
Well, Nancy, I had never obviously met her before, and she came in. Came in my office. I was still working for City Hall. I was working in the schools, the middle schools and high schools, and a lot. I did. I had. What is that noise, Kevin? You know what that noise is?
I don't know what noise it is. Sorry.
Yeah, somebody's taking the drinking of a bottom of a. You can't hear it.
I don't hear that. No.
Anyway, met Nancy. She gave me a purpose. Married, kids, and it's great. Life
changed your life.
Yep.
You go from doing. There we are. A beautiful picture of the two of you.
That's what we do. We could do it. At about 40, you got a woman to tell you what to do because you have no idea. You're a male and still single. Get wrapped up.
You decide that you're going to get into broadcasting as well. You did that with the Bruins for a number of years with Fred.
I did that for 10 years. That was fun. I enjoyed that. Yeah. That's the achievement partner.
When Fred retired at the end of the 96-97 season, you go back to classes, go back to school, and join as a financial advisor and help out players who had experienced things with money that they never
had problems with the money and their representation, like the lawyers are not. I'd never negotiated a contract, never would. That's a lawyer. That's an agent's job. I mean, you get out, and what you want to do is make sure that your player knows what he owns, what it does, and how you ended up with it. You know what I mean? You should know how much you spent for soccer. You should know something about your status. Always get out ahead and never look back. You put a consistent, fee-based, oriented it's the whole portfolio. It's something you can live with and you realize it's something important. Once the players started to see it, how they saved money and how it worked, and it was that was an exciting part of my life. Nancy, the kids, and the investment business. Very good.
Well, it's an amazing story, and here we are now in Boston, and it's when we look back, what an incredible story it was. It's been a wild ride, like I said, full of twists and turns and
a lot of twists and
excesses, and most importantly, love of family, great friendship, and redemption as well. Talk about your relationship with Bobby Orr. He's been so important in your life.
Yeah, well, Bobby always says he's been there since I was, like I said, 15, and the first. He's really the best friend you could have. Worst enemy, mind you, but he's the best friend you could have. If Bobby's he said, yeah, and I promise you, it's done. That's it. It's done. He's good like that.
Yeah. You are very different guys.
My wife's
very different guys, but you're great friends, and he's been with you through thick and thin, and you certainly have enjoyed a great life together in many ways. So
I tell you what, that's true. We both live at the same golf complex. Lives across the street, and but I never realized. Yeah, my wife and Bobby solved it.
Me more than you.
Yeah, and
I hope so.
No, it's everything I did. Bobby, you're getting married? Oh, terrific. Tremendous. Yeah. And I said, holy Jesus, that's a big a deal. So we got married and I had a reception. Boy, it was crazy. Bobby, Dan, you're great for him, Dan. You really are. And it's been Nancy and Bobby and Peggy, his wife, ever since. I'm just kind of the guy who hangs around.
The fringe.
Very good.
My wife has.
Well, Derek, the time has flown. We talked about career. We talked about challenges. We talked about life.
We could have wrote a book. Yeah,
there we go. Hey. Well, in fact, if anybody wants to know, Derek Sanderson, Crossing the Line, the outrageous story of a hockey original. Great story, and we've heard great compliments about it through the years as well. Really enjoyed working with you, and I've really enjoyed our friends here on Hockey Time Machine. So thank you very much for that. It's been most enjoyable. It's been entertaining. It's been educational as well.
I hope so. You know, these Zoom things and technology is something I'm not. I don't know. I don't know. Who's listening, who's not. Tough to get folks.
We've got hundreds of people listening. We've got people asking.
Everybody else
don't have a chance to get to them tonight, but we sure appreciate your time. So thank you, Derek, very, very much for sharing your life and your time with us this evening. Next week, Hockey Time Machine honors Black History Month. We've got Darren Banks, Tony McKegney, Ray Neufeld, and Bernice Carnegie, the daughter of Herb Carnegie, who are going to join us and talk about their experiences as well. I have to thank the team around us. We want to thank hosts Laura Evans and Paul Patskow, our producer extraordinaire, Glenn Dreyfus, and our associate producers, Suzanne Primo and Wayne Gillespie. So we thank our sponsors as well for helping us bring Hockey Time Machine together. We thank SoHoTableHockey.com, 100 Things Maple Leaf Fans Should Do or See Before They Die by Paul Patskow, and my new book, Voices in Blue and White, Pride and Passion for the Maple Leafs, and The Legends of Landover, Long Lost Stories of the Washington Capitals by Glenn Dreyfus as well. So, Derek, thank you for joining us. Thank all of you for being part of our evening tonight. Look forward to seeing you a little bit later on. Spread the word, stay safe and well, and wear a mask. Good night, everybody. Thanks a million for joining us tonight.
Thank you.